Shalom, shalom to those that want to start in just a few moments. Shalom, shalom. Got the other stream on the other channel. Lord willing, this is edifying. Going to tap into certain points in Isaiah 49 and maybe dabble into Isaiah 42, Isaiah 50, maybe Isaiah 52, and Isaiah 53, which is really kind of really pointing to Yahweh Shai. First and foremost, before I even get started, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Akakodash, double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. And a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect that are scattered four corners of the earth, teaching this word and believing this word, but willing that they continue in sound doctrine and in the same spirit. Shalom to the Akwath that are believers in his faith and his truth, but willing that you continue to pursue your lot, which is being a loving and silent and virtuous wife, and continue in the same sound doctrine. And Lord willing, the Most have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. Today we're going to tap into Isaiah 49 and 6, but we might just read from verse 1 down to 7, which is really pointing to Yahweh Shai. Verse 6, to be the light to the Gentiles, is really towards the dispersed and scattered Israelites. You know, how can we be a light to the other nations? And really, we're very low. And on this side, the Lord really sent the men of the Lord out to teach the Israelites. How are we going to be like to a light to the other nations if we don't even know who we is? We see in Baruch, the Lord said, in the land of our captivity, we're going to remember who we are. First, we have to put us first. You know, what inspired me to do this, of course, I see Genesis bringing forth their understanding that Isaiah 49 and 6 is speaking about being a light to the other nations, right? But hey, that's the understanding from what I believe. And of course, I know from the brothers in starting with the elder apostles down in Great Millstone, these Gentiles is dispersed and scattered Israelites, right? Because even when we go dealing with Yahweh Shai, right, we are a light. Like, you can't be a light hidden behind a bush. We have to be a light in the midst of our brothers and sisters, you know. But shalom to the other brothers, the Akim, that came on this thing, and the Akwath, that are believers in his faith. Lord willing, we can be all edified. Lord willing, hey, if brothers can drop in precepts, I'll even read them. And if the topic change, if somebody that's not in the same sound doctrine, the same understanding, and they have a point that they want to ask a question, you definitely can come up, ask your question, and Lord willing, we can deal with the point. So now, let's just get into this lesson. So, Isaiah 49, and I don't know, should we start at verse 1? Yeah, let's just start at verse 1 real quick. This is Isaiah chapter 49, verse 1. Listen, O isles, unto me, and hearken, ye people from far. Yahweh hath called me from the womb, and from the bowels of my mother. He hath made mention of my name, and he hath made my mouth like a sharp sword. In the shadow of his hand have he hid me, and made me a polished shaft. In his quiver have he hid me. So The servant is called from the womb and equipped with a sharp sword, which is a symbol or symbolizing the word, right? This connects with Yahushai, who was chosen before birth, right? Let's go to Luke, the first chapter. And again, I say this in a lot of videos that this whole ministry is really circled around Yahushai. Regardless if you want to accept it or not, this whole thing is revolved or is circled around Yahushai. So this is Luke chapter 1 in verse 31 to 33. I'll start at 30. And it says, "And the angel said unto her, Fear not, Mary, for thou hast found favor with the Most High. And behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Yahushai. He shall be great, and shall be called the Son of the Highest. And Yahweh Shema Shai, the Lord our power shall give unto him the throne of his father David, and he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever. In his kingdom there shall be no end." Right? This is Yahushai spoken of, and what is he a symbol of? Right? He, even going back to Solomon, his throne will be forever. But things have to take place until that throne until Yahushua gets on that throne. Right? We understand Matthew 1 and 21, that he shall save his people from sin. Right? Let's get Hebrews 4 and 12. Because what did it say in that verse about a sharp sword? This is Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 12. It says, "And the word of the Most High is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intent of the heart." Right? And we know that the word is Yahushai. He is the word of the Most High God. But that same word that we just read in Isaiah, just got to go back to it. Y'all going to see us do a lot of precept upon precept. Again, these things are decoded. Isaiah 49 in verse 2, "And he hath made my mouth like a sharp sword," right? Which is the word. Everything that Yahushua is going to speak is going to be a sharp sword. Better yet, let's go back to Luke, the 2nd chapter, because it's a key point of a man that was circumcised in Yahushua according to the law. And I believe this is what we want. Let me see if this is it. Okay, this is Luke chapter 2, and I'll start at verse 30, but the point is verse 34. It says, "For my eyes have seen thy salvation, which thou hast prepared before the face of all the people." Who is that? Yahushua. "A light to light in the Gentiles, in the glory of thy people Israel." Who is this light? Right? Because this is speaking future tense. He's going to be a light. He's going to be a light to light in the Gentiles, which is the dispersed and scattered Israelites. "And Joseph and his mother marvel at those things which were spoken of him. And Simeon blessed him and said unto Mary his mother, Behold, this child is set for the fall and rising of many in Israel, and for a sign which shall be spoken against." So when brothers was saying that Isaiah 49 and 6 is talking about that light, or Yahushua is going to be a light to the other nations, they bugged the hell out. Right? Right? They're bugged the hell out. Right? Because Yahushua, that him as an example, the minute the Lord is teaching in the name of the Father and the Son, baptizing you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Ruach HaKodesh. So the light is put on the Israelites that are dispersed and scattered, fulfilling future time. It started with Peter, Acts the 10th chapter. Cornelius, he's an Israelite. Then it was really the ministry of Paul, being the light to the Gentiles, the dispersed and scattered Israelites. How the hell we gonna be a light to the other nations in captivity? We don't know who he is. Jake is rejecting Yahweh Shai. That would be backwards, right? We're here to be a light to the dispersed and scattered Israelites. We're going to truly be a light to the other nations when we're in the kingdom, fully aligned with the Lord. Genesis, you are incorrect, right? Isaiah 49:6, to be a light to the Gentiles is the scattered, dispersed Israelites. Let's read this verse again, and I'm going to get the Akim comments, precepts. This is Luke 2, verse 32. Let me start at verse 31. Which thou hast prepared before the face of all people, a light to lighten the Gentiles in the glory of thy people Israel. Because in that time, it was some Jake, starting with Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, that was still following the ways or the laws or the customs of the Lord, right? That's why he's saying Israel, but the Gentiles is to go in line with the Israelites that are scattered four corners or dispersed in that known land, especially the northern kingdom, that were Gentiles in a mindset. They wasn't fully walking the ways of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Plain and simple. And Yahweh Shai, he is the child set for the fall and the rising of many in Israel. Right now is a huge rise in this truth. Right now. And all Jake that came in this truth, you are a Gentile in a state of mind, doing holidays, birthday, Christianity, Muslim, Buddhism, whatever freaking belief you was believing in, and not getting edified on where everything started, your nationality, your culture, right? All these things, right? That we have to have the Rakakwadash to pull down the strongholds. Let me read some of the brothers' points. The brother chosen of Shiloh, he put Luke 19:10, for the Son of Man is to come to seek and to save that which was lost. Which was lost? The 12 tribes of Israel. Israel have been a broken kingdom, right? A broken kingdom and overpowered and swallowed up by the nations, right? Beautiful precept. That's a great point. James 1:1. James said, greetings to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Why he didn't speak about the other nations? Come on, right? St. John 7:35, teaching the Gentiles amongst the Gentiles. These are secrets. Let's actually go to that. And John is like a great gospel book, man. I'm not gonna hold you. This is St. John from the same brother, St. John chapter 7 in verse 35. I said at 34, it says, ye shall seek me, ye shall not find me. Where I am, thither ye cannot come. Then said the Jews among themselves, whether will he go, that we shall not find him? Will he go into the dispersed among the Gentiles to teach the Gentiles? So it's two indications. Gentiles mean nation, right? Nation mean Gentiles, right? So the dispersed among the Gentiles, so the dispersed and scattered Israelites that are in the other nations, and teach the Gentiles, which is the Israelites in other nations. As an example, most of us, Jake, is in America, Brazil, and all these other places. You pick up your identity from where you at. I'm African American. Of course, I've been Americanized with this dumbass system, right? But when we actually understand and believe in these scriptures, am I really an African American? No. But it's certain attributes that I picked up as being this so-called African American, right? That I seem to be a Gentile. But now that Yahweh Shemashai woken me up back to my identity, the Lord removed our names from the earth. What was that name? You are a Hebrew Israelite. What tribe you from? Those are the names that was removed from us. Now we're coming back to, oh, I'm this. Some of us might not know what tribe, but we know that we're a Hebrew Israelite. We're getting that back. That is the light. Starting with Elder Abba Bibbins, I went on ChatGPT and I was asking ChatGPT because I already knew 1969 is where they said where they went on the moon. So I was asking ChatGPT, when did they, just to, I think I was doing a video just to back it up with AI. When did the so-called Edomites or so-called YTs say they landed on the moon? ChatGPT said 1969, the same time when Abba Bibbins came out and started teaching the truth about the black Latinos and natives being Hebrew Israelites. I'm like, oh snap, I didn't even ask that. I just asked about when did they say they landed on the moon? And they just went and just said it's the same time that Abba Bivens started bringing forth the truth. Then who was under the seven? Apostle Tahar. So all the way from Elder Abba Bivens all the way to Apostle Tahar and where we at now, they've been planting seeds, and it was all by Yahweh that was making those seeds grow. They were being a light to Jake that was still walking in the world, smoking blunts, being disco dancers, being drug dealers, being harlots on a pole, being working a 9 to 5 or 5 to 9. They were being a light. How? By the word, right? When we go to St. Matthew, the 5th chapter, where it says you are the salt of the earth. How are we the salt? Right? You're the season that's on that meat, purizing it, right? Which is the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And it's another point. When you have faith, you don't want to shield your faith. You want it to shine. So what they do is they went to the highways and byways starting in Manhattan, if I'm not mistaken, and started to teach this truth and shaking the hand, lifting up the banner, Isaiah 13, verse 2, right? So that is a form of them being the light. But in order to be the light, you have to have Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai abiding within you, which is the Rakak Wadash. That comes in the name of Yahweh Shai, right? Beautiful point, King. Let me see if I missed anything. Let me make sure I missed that. I want to make sure I get brothers. Can you read that in the NLT? Yes, I will. You want me to read St. John, the 7th chapter? Wait, what the heck just happened? Oh, shoot. Salaki, y'all. I thought something happened to my computer. Okay, I'm going to read that in the NLT. St. John 7, verse 35. So this St. John chapter 7, verse 35. In the NLT, it says Jewish, but ain't no such thing as Jewish. So we're going to say Jew. The Jew leaders were puzzled by this statement. Where is he planning to go? They asked. Is he thinking of leaving the country and going to the Jews in other lands? Maybe he will even teach the Greeks, right? Who is the Greeks? The Jews that are in other lands. Greek-speaking Jews. Hold on. If you got your Bible, you might be taking notes. Go to that same verse we just read in the KJV NLT. Right next to it, NLT. Read it in the KJV and the NLT for edification's sake or whatever you're teaching. That right there was plain. Let's get another one. Yeah, okay, we read it. So they know the same year he did start teaching. They're paying attention a lot. Yeah, definitely. That's how you know. Even when you go on ChatGPT, if anybody got it, depending on what your cookies look like, whatever you keep looking up in your background, you can ask ChatGPT, is the elites watching the Hebrew Israelites? And they'll say yes. And then it'd be some cases where they'll go even deeper, where they'll say they're observing more of Great Millstone because they bring forth prophecy, right? And I'm just only saying what ChatGPT says. Somebody on the YouTube said, I know I'm an Israelite, I'm battling addiction, and ninjas in camps think they better than a ninja. I always reach out. And in the spirit sense, they are better, but technically we're not, because we're in the flesh, we're all filthy rags. You have to understand this, brother, that just because you reaching out to brothers and brothers is based in the camp, and we don't, everybody in camps is not dealing with everybody. In our camp, we don't just deal with anybody. We're not just coming to labor with anybody, because this is something serious, right? When you come to this truth, it takes baby steps, right? You have to apply discipline. When you know brothers is at camp, you should be coming to camp with your Bible and a marker and taking notes, right? You want to discipline yourself. We're not in this thing to get friends. We're in this thing to get family. Let's get the book of Mark real quick. This is just a sidebar because of somebody in the comment section. I just want to say this real quick. This is Mark, the 3rd chapter, verse 35. It says, "For whosoever will do the will of my Father, the same as my brother, my sister, and my mother." We're not here to get friends. We're here to get family. And only family that comes in this truth is those that's doing the will of the Father. So if you ain't doing the will of the Father and you just observing, you're a prospect. You might not be a prospect in the camp, but brothers is doing Sirach the 6th chapter. You're proving a friend before you credit him, right? Brothers, you're not just hopping in any line. You're not just oh, let me get your group chat. Every Jake that come in this thing is not about to just be friends with you, right? Because you have to be circumspect. If you are in the world, you have to kill that off before you fully come connected with men. So if anybody feel a certain way because camp leaders do this or that, guess what? They supposed to do that because that's order, right? Yahweh Shai didn't just say, hey, you a Pharisee, come join the line. No, because he knew their heart. Okay, so just remember that, brother. Let me just read these points, and then we're going to get back to it. It's another point the brother said, read Acts 6 and 1 in the NLT. And then we going to, I got another verse I want. I think we're going to go back to Isaiah 49 and read verse 3. He said, read this verse in the NIV. So I'm gonna get it in the NIV. So this Acts 6 and 1. Okay, in the NIV it says, in those days when the number of the disciples was increasing, the Hellenistic Jews among them complained against the Hebraic Jews because their widows were being overlooked in the daily distribution of food, right? Hellenistic is where these Jews were Hellenized into walking in the Jewish ways, or not Jewish ways, the Greek ways. And I'm about to read something just to show you a form of Hellenistic or Hellenized. Yes, it's all about Yahweh Shai at the end of the day. Just for those that haven't been on my TikTok channel, this right here is called the jewishhistory.org. I posted it on my TikTok. So I'm gonna read certain points. This is the first point. It says, if you wanted to be a good Greek, you were embarrassed to go into the babe houses to participate in sports. Consequently, Hellenized Jews underwent painful operations at a time with minimum anesthesia to restore their foreskin and appear Greek. So just like what Jake do in 2025, they're doing seizure, right? Going to get a BBL, get plastic lips, get chest reduction, get they butt done. Back then they were doing surgery. They were doing surgery back then in the Greek captivity, and now since technology advanced, we're doing the same thing in the Greek captivity, in America captivity, which is you just being Americanized. Page 2, we're dropping to the second paragraph. It says, these Hellenistic Jews hated their brethren and openly sided with the enemies of Israel who attempted to destroy the Jewish nation and faith. They hated themselves for being Jews and resorted to things like painful cosmetic surgery, not only to blend in with the Greeks, but as a sign of defiance in their attempt to remove any trace of being Jewish from their bodies. Naturally, the victory of the Maccabees over the Greeks, which we will discuss later, was a great disappointment to them. So a lot of some of the Hellenized Israelites, it was a disappointment from what the Maccabees did to try to overpower the Greeks, right? And that's what Jake do on this same side, right? Jake try to teach the word, oh, they in the highways and byways. Jake don't like that because it's looking odd. It's looking unorthodox, right? But this is the light that we're supposed to be to Jake that have the Gentile mindset, right? I'm just reading these comments. I just want all points to be heard. Yeah, King, that was the NIV in Acts 6 and 1. I'm just reading what the brothers put. We're gonna get back to the point. Oh, never mind. The brothers is dealing with it in the comment section. So the water, y'all do y'all thing, man. Let me just see if any brother dropped another preset. Okay, everything is good. Okay, so now let's go back to Isaiah. And for the brother, if you're still on the YouTube channel, just pay attention to the lesson that's going on now, right? Because right now, while you dealing with addictions, this is what you fight it with, by getting edified and get building on. Like, what is going on? This is what's going on. This light, right? So, verse 1 and 2, we understand that sharp sword technically still point to Yahushua, right? The ultimate fulfillment is Yahushua. We can't be a light to the Gentiles without Yahushua, right? Without having the Rakak Wadash. Just telling a brother why you might be muted is because if you're not showing an example of trying to learn, or you asking certain questions or certain things and brothers giving you the answer and you're not taking it in, brothers would just mute you instead of continue to have that conversation, right? Okay, so this is Isaiah 49 in verse 3. It says, and said unto him, thou art my servant, O Israel, in whom I will be glorified. So the servant is called Israel, but this doesn't mean the whole nation, right? This is really pointing to Yahushua as a perfect representative of Israel, the true faithful Israelite. Let's go to Hosea chapter 11, verse 1. Okay? And a lot of times, I just want brothers and sisters to know, sometimes you can read something, it could be one-fold, two-fold, three-fold, six-fold, but it all goes in lines when it depends on the scriptures that brothers is pairing it with, right? Which it has to make sense, right? So that the sheep can comprehend it, right? We want to make this plain upon tables, right? Again, Genesis is saying to be the light to the Gentiles is speaking about the other nations. I don't see how we can be the light to the other nations if we not even a light to ourselves, right? Because didn't Yahushua first tell Peter, feed my sheep, feed my lambs, right? We supposed to be a light to our brethren that don't know who the hell they is. We've been, this ministry been out here for 56 years. When has the other nations and came out and said, hey, the real Israelites is the black, Latinos, and natives? That would let you know if what brothers been doing been affecting the other nations and having them come out saying, oh, hey, you guys are the true people. No nation did that. Only Hebrew Israelites. So understand that, Genesis. Incorrect. So this is Hosea chapter 11, verse 1. When Israel was a child, then I loved him and called my son out of Egypt. Now we know precept form, Israel is considered a son of the Most High. But that still lines up with Yahushua. Because when Herod was persecuting Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, which we look at Revelations, the 12th chapter, what happened? They fled and went to Egypt. Let me see if I can find it. Do I want to go to Luke? We want to go to Luke. Let me make sure. Okay, this is Matthew chapter 2 and verse 12. It says, being warned of the Most High in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. Because Herod sent these 3 wise men to go see where Yahushua was at and then come back and tell him so he can worship and praise Yahushua, which was a lie. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of Yahweh Shemashai appeareth to Joseph in a dream, saying, arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. And when he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night, and departed into Egypt. And it was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt have I called my son. right? Come on, man. That's plain right there, right? I believe. Let me see. Let me see if this is a precept I want to line up with this real quick. Do I want this one? Let me see if this the one I want. I might not want this one. Yeah, we don't want that one. But we already seen it. Matthew chapter 2, verse 15, which lines up with Hosea 11 and 1. Okay? Now, let's go back to Isaiah 49, and let's read verse 4 to 6. This is Isaiah chapter 49, verse 4 to 6. It says, Then I said, I have labored in vain, I have spent my strength for naught, and in vain, yet surely my judgment is with Yahweh, and my work with my power. And now saith Yahweh that formed me from the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob again to him, though Israel be not gathered. Wait, hold on. How can we come back to Yahweh? By Yahweh Shai. Even when we go into Job, the 9th chapter, verse 32 to 35, Job said, if I had a mediator between the Most High and me, right? Job is even saying that he can come closer or come back to the Lord if he had a mediator, or having a mediator would stop him from getting punished or getting punishment from the Heavenly Father, right? Now, look at us now. Because of Yahweh Shai, children not getting stoned from not honoring their mother or father. LGBT community, we'll be playing dodgeball, especially you brothers that's in ATL, in Dallas, right? Wherever you at, you'll be playing dodgeball, right? But it's because of Yahweh Shai, we ain't doing that, right? It says, though Israel be not gathered, yet shall I be glorious in the eye of Yahweh, and my power shall be my strength. And he said, it's a little thing that thou shouldest be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob, and to restore the preserved of Israel. I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles, that thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth. Now, before I read this point over here, I gotta go to Luke again. Keyword, preserved. Okay. Let's actually, if my computer, okay, we back. Somebody on the comment section. Wait, hold on, this ain't the internet. We gonna go to Isaiah 49. We're gonna look up that word, preserved. And of course, it's kind of plain, right? It's actually plain right now. Let me see if I can do it right here. Of course, people know what that word means, but just to put more emphasis on it. It said, and to preserve, and to restore the preserved of Israel, which another thing this can go to is to the elect, right? Let me see if they'll give it to me. To maintain in its original or existing estate, treated or prepared for long-term storage, especially by boiling sugar, to maintain, retain a condition or state of affairs, keep alive, keep safe from harm and injury. Hey, that just goes with the elect, right? Yeah, prodigal son. Yeah, there is preserved son, a runaway, right? Which even lines up with the elect. Now, going back to that Luke we read earlier, Luke chapter 2, because he said it to be a light to the Gentiles. I just got to read it again. Was it? Yeah, Luke chapter 2, verse 34. And Simeon blessed him and said unto Mary his mother, Behold, this child is set for the fall and the rising again of many. Verse 32. A light to lighten the Gentiles in the glory of thy people Israel. And brothers was bringing out other precepts that's really lining up with the other the Israelites that are dispersed and scattered four corners of the earth, right? Because the main point is the Israelites, right? He said preserve goes into the watchman. Let's go into his precept. The brother put Isaiah 62 and 6. Isaiah 62 and 6, which reads, it says, I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace, day nor night. Ye that make mention of Yahweh, keep no silence, give ear, give him no rest till he establish, until he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth, right? And even going with the watchmen, right? The men of the Lord, what is they doing? In the name of Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, teaching, speaking of his name, edifying, and being a light on the earth. The number one thing that's pushed on the earth is teaching the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai. That's the number one thing pushed on the earth. The number one thing that any man should truly be doing if you have the ability of teaching, right? The brother Yerubia just put Isaiah 11 and 12. Let's get that. Let's just stay on track real quick so I don't lose brother's points. It's Isaiah 11 and 12, and it reads, it says, and he shall set up a sign. What that goes with? Isaiah 13 and 2. That a sign goes with the same interlinear as the word banner in Isaiah 13 and 2. For the nations, and shall assemble the outcast of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. The outcast of Israel was speaking about the northern kingdom. Because who was removed from the land first? The northern kingdom. Right? The Lord is just bringing us all together through the Rakak Kodash, through the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Right? Okay, the brother Hebrew Israelite Gadite, that brother put Matthew 22 and 9. That right is a classic on what's going on in the highways and byways. Matthew 22 and 9. And it reads, go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage, right? Calling them by name, right? We're calling Jake by name. What? You're a Hebrew Israelite, black Latinos and natives, right? Which the big or straight deliverance is happening in America, right? And of course, we know in Matthew 24, the Lord is going to send the angels to gather the elect four corners of the earth. But Yahweh Shai told the disciples he called them by name, like literally by name. We're calling Jake by name by you are a Hebrew Israelite. Like when he called Matthew, Simon, and them, Zaphachis, Lord, well, I'm probably saying his name wrong, that was in the tree, he called them by their names. But the similitude and likeness, we're calling Jake by their name because they're moving Greek, right? They got American names. So what is their name that the Lord called them? You are a Hebrew Israelite. Hey, Judah, Ephraim, such and such. The brother said, read Tobit, the 13th chapter. Tobit chapter 13 and verse 3. Confess him before the Gentiles, ye children of Israel, for he have scattered us among them. Right? We're scattered amongst the other nations. And while we confess, the other Israelites is waking up. Right? Because even in the time of Tobit, Jake knew who they was. We're in the time where Jake don't know who they are in these other nations. Because then, hey, I think I am a China man. Because regardless if we're in the nations, when you start bringing out this truth, Jake starts, hold on, you said what? But if they're not resonating with this, right, or connecting with it, they most likely might not even be an Israelite, right? Technically, they might not even be the elect, right? That's a beautiful precept. I might have to put that in the arsenal. The Gadite brother put Luke the 14th chapter in verse 23. This is Luke chapter 14, verse 23. And the Lord said unto the servant, go out into the highways and the hedges and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. The same thing with Matthew 22 and 9. And that's even going with Proverbs chapter 1, verse 20. Right? Wisdom is crying out in the street in a place of concord. That's where the main church is at, on the highways and byways, right? But we even doing this same thing when we doing these sit downs, right? Don't get it twisted. The Lord in this captivity with technology, not let's say with the MOTB, that's not a that's not a blessing, but just keeping it straight for edification. The Lord blessed us when it came to the cell phone, to a computer, where we can upload videos on YouTube, Instagram, Instagram, TikTok, and edify the sheep. Right, the brother, the Gadai brothers is dropping them. So let me get it. The brother put Baruch chapter 3 in verse 28. It says, "But they were destroyed because they had no wisdom and perished through their own foolishness." This is another reason why those brothers that do have this light and this truth and have the spirit of Yahushua, you are a light unto them because of what? They are destroyed because they have no wisdom, right? And Jake is foolish. That's another reason why, brothers, if you are doing videos, know how very important it is. Each video, I don't care if it's a video for 3 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. Hey, you might do a lesson for 2 hours. Know that every lesson that you do, and if it's aligning with 100% truth, sound doctrine, right, and the sheep can be edified, it's very important that you continue to do that, right? Romeo drop one. Let's get Psalms the 19th chapter. Yeah, this right here. That's the one right there. Psalms chapter 19, verse 1 and 4. 1 to 4 says, "The heavens declare the glory of the Most High, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. And there is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line is going out throughout all the earth, in their words, the end of the world. And them have he set a tabernacle for the sun." Now, we understand Yeremia, he was breaking it down that you use that word for line for the Wi-Fi cord, especially ocean and everywhere else, especially in your city. You have them on the cables, and it travels wherever it travels. But even if you go and get the homology, which still lines up what he's saying, but the Hebrew word for this word line is kawah, and it goes into the strong definition, musical chord. So this teaching, your voice, this word, right, is going out throughout all the earth. In the words, their words to the end of the world. And it's not our words, because it's really Yahweh Shem Yahushai's word. It's going to the ends of the earth. This truth been growing nonstop, right? That's why it's very important to keep teaching, because this ministry is a light to the Israelites, the Gentiles, Israelites that are scattered 4 corners of the earth, right? I posted a video, I think I reshared it on TikTok. You had some Chinese doing rap and dressing like Jake. Most cases, they are like, they could be a Jake, you know? You got I seen a Edomite girl that was dating a Jake, but the way she started talking, her swag, how she had her hair and nails, oh yeah, she most likely is a Jake. Now, I can't talk to her to know what nationality, but she's giving out certain features that she most likely can be, because Jake is scattered 4 corners of the earth. Jake going 4 corners of the earth don't mean they all gonna be black. We are a speckled bird, right? A lot of us is in different countries with different understandings, different backgrounds, different customs, because Hellenization was in the Greek captivity. You were Babylonianized, you was Persianized, Hellenized, you were Romanized, right? Even Ishmael trying to do it. When you read these books, Lord willing, after I get done with this lesson, we can get into these 2 books right here. You'll find out that Muhammad tried to convert the Jews at that time to the Islam religion. And before Islam came about, before they were following Allah, they were believing in the stars and the moon, right? And he started to torment the Israelites because we didn't want to follow his ways, and then they mimic what we did, right? Then you had the Africanized. Jake started to doing African stuff. When you read this book, which is The Valley of Dry Bones, which line up with Ezekiel 37, and he goes into a lot of history of Jake. And of course, in this book, he called you African, right? But back in the ancient world, Africa wasn't called Africa, right? But because we were taken from that place, we picked up their certain attributes, like how they move. So that's why even Edomites called you African. But they understood the difference between us, and they just stuck with that name. But this is these two books, Lord willing, after we done with this live, the YouTube live dealing with the Isaiah 49. We might get into this. We just might get into these books, get a few points, get some precepts, and see what brothers want to add into it. But again, when we was talking about the music to edify the sheep on who they is, right? This is what we're doing to edify the sheep so that they could come out this state of mind of being Americanized. Wherever you at and you ain't following the ways of the Lord, you don't know who you is, right? You got some of the Northern Kingdom. Oh, I'm Cuban. I'm just making up a word. They're Cubanized. You know, they really think that that's them, but don't know that they're Israelites. Okay, this is the last statement. Then we're gonna get back on point. When we were at camp, what was we at? No. Yes. After me and the brothers got done with camp, we went to go get food. It was me, the head brother, and the brother Bashar. That's with GMS, Niagara Falls, and Buffalo. And some dude pulled up on us in a bike. And we're just, God is good, God is great. Of course, we could tell he probably had to be a fiend or something. But the man started speaking spiritual. The man, the head brother said, hey, where were you from? He said, I'm from East Africa or South Africa. And he said, what are you, bro? The head brother said, I'm in America. But then the head brother said, what do I look like I am? Out of nowhere, the man said, you look like you really an Israelite. We looking at each other, wait, what the heck? The man leave us and then come back and he go and buy some drug. That spirit left him, and we just seen through the spirit an angel talk through this man. We don't know this man from a can to a paint. The man told us that we look like Israelites. Yeah, you don't look American. You look like you're the real Israelites. Are you kidding me? So this is, man, I just had to say that, man. This is what brothers is doing this for, to be a light to the Gentiles, to the other Israelites. Because this whole thing is about to change. So let's see other points, and then we can keep it going. Okay, he told me, a great song, he told me to get Ezekiel 33, verse 33. Oh yeah, that's my classic right there. From 30 to 33, anybody taking notes, write down Ezekiel 33, verse 30 to 33, which is a beautiful point, where the minute the Lord is constantly teaching and nobody is taking your word for value. But then verse 33 come into play. It says, and when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come. Then shall they know that a prophet have been among them. So these things, this is even better. Great Millstone, the brothers in New York, some of the brothers that live at Amawanga Bar, some dude out of nowhere came up and he was walking past and said, hey, you guys was right all along. And all them other ones, they were wrong. And of course, you can just dissect certain things that they was talking about. But when you really look and you know the history of this truth, dealing with the Abba Bibbins and then the 7, who was after them? It was possible to hire. A prophet is not going to be loved by everybody, right? So even just because Pastor Tahara is who he is, the Lord made him the last teacher that any other Israelite want to listen to. They want to listen to the famous guys and this guy. But that is a good trait, because Yahweh Shem Shai is going to point to us who is the real teachers, who we should follow. Let alone when you start to follow these teachers, you start to become them. You see what I'm saying? We start to become a reflection of them, right? Just like you men that's in this truth being diligent, you start to become like Yahweh Shai. 1 John 2 and 6. If ye abide in him, you must also walk like him, imitating Yahweh Shai, being his reflection. Okay? Oh, the brother says Salaki. Ezekiel 33, verse 32, and it reads, "And lo, thou art unto them as a very lovely song of one that have a pleasant voice and can play well on instrument, for they hear thy words, but they do them not." That goes back to what we read in Psalms 19, verse 1 and 4. That line, that kawa, musical chord, where a song that's teaching for where this word is going four corners of the earth. Even though the Lord did the heavy lifting by making this technology, put it in Esau's mind to make these damn apps. I got another one. Y'all brothers, y'all should have never brought the things out. Y'all, hey. Let's get Psalms 33, verse 3. It says, "Sing unto him a new song, play skillfully with a loud noise." This is a new song because after that falling away in Rome, it was no more teaching, no more priests, no more prophets for 350 plus years, right? At the Roman fall away had to happen, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. Then after, in between those things, when we go into the Renaissance, the rebirth of, Rome 2.0, Revelations 11, verse 7, all the way down to 11 started to take place. And we didn't get this truth really from verse 7 to 10. Then when 1969, about that time, in full effect, that's when the truth sprouted, because that marked that time fulfilling Revelations, the 11th chapter, in verse 9 and 10, right? When it says the 3.5 years, which is 350 years, right? The Lord, man, he been making combinations. Okay, we'll read that brother's precept too. And it's all just lining up. Let's get Isaiah the 40th chapter for the Gadite brother. Isaiah 40 and verse 28. It says, "Hast thou not known, hast thou not heard, that the everlasting power, Yahweh, the creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is weary. There is no searching of his understanding." The brother said, "Have you not heard this word?" When you go into Isaiah 53:1, Isaiah said, "Who's going to believe our report?" Right? Yes. Salaki, y'all, I just want to read what this brother's saying. Like the apostle said, even if you are a affiliate, same sound doctrine, you are a great millstone. You just don't have the name. You don't have the initials, what I would say, in front of your name on your YouTube or on your TikTok. But it's really about the spirit brothers is coming with. And do brothers agree? Is they coming and bringing 100% truth? Because at the end of the day, if it's sound doctrine 100% truth, you are in the same spirit, right? Because Yahweh Shai, whoever is not against us, they with us, right? So just so you know. Yeah, he was excited when he said that they were right. That's a full fact. Okay, so now that we dealt with all those precepts that line with that, let me see. We're going to go back. We're going to go to, we already read that one, so we're going to go to Acts chapter 13, verse 47. So this is Acts chapter 13 in verse 47. It says, "For so have Yahweh Shemashai commanded us, saying, I have set thee to be a light of the Gentiles, that thou shouldest be for salvation unto the ends of the earth." Salvation is only for the Israelites. So this light, how can we be a light to the Gentiles in a Roman captivity in Rome 2.0? Make it make sense. When have the nation said, hey, these is the true people? When have the nation said, I believe is Deuteronomy 4, 5, and 6. When have the nation said, wow, this is a wise and understanding nation? When? That's when we know that we have been a light to the other nations. But that's going to be full effect for the other nations in the kingdom. Right now, it's all about Jake. It's all about Jake. If it's about to be a famine in the word, who's going to be affected? Because I don't know if a lot of you brothers know. I mean, of course, the ones of the same faith. When we're not able to teach this truth no more in four corners of the earth, it's going to be a huge shadow of darkness over the whole earth because we're not teaching no more. And those that believe, that cleaved, they're going to be really in hiding. The Lord is going to be covering you and hiding you. Some of us are going to have some type of affliction that we're going to be dealing with, but there's going to be a huge shadow of darkness without this truth. So if we're a light to the other nations, where is a video of the other nations saying, these is the Hebrew Israelites? These are them. Where is the government officials? Where is the politicians? Where is the mayor? Where is the bankers? Right? Where's these people at these high elite jobs saying, these are the people? That's when you know that we're a light to them. But when we reverse it to the Israelites, we can tell we're the light. Because Jake nonstop talking about us. God Logic trying to debate us. Vocab baloney. Always his whole ministry is trying to cut an Israelite, which he can't even cut us with a butter knife, a plastic knife, right? The number one talk thing is Hebrew Israelites, Black Latinos and natives, girls making TikToks, Hebrew Israelites yelling at me, Hebrew Israelites getting in my comment section. Let's talk about it. Where is the videos of the Edomites sitting down saying it? Where's the Elamites? Where's the Japanese? Where is it? Where is the Muslims at the corner store saying, hey, you guys is the Israelites, man, I'm telling you, man, we've been seeing it. That's how you know you a light, because people start talking about you. It's only Black Latinos and natives and Hispanics speaking about us because we're the light to our own brethren, man. Again, Genesis, I'm sorry, you know, you got to fix that. Got to fix that. Just wait till Jake get them spiritual powers. People gonna be in awe. Yes, and that's a fact. And I'm not saving you. I'm not about to be Captain Save-A-Ho. You know? It's about to be a beautiful thing. I'm going to call anybody that don't take this truth serious, you are a coulda, woulda, shoulda. That's what you is. You a coulda, shoulda, woulda. You could have listened. Matthew, the 12th chapter, from the brother, Yahushua Special 140K. Matthew chapter 24, verse 48. And it reads, it says, but he answered and said unto him that told him, who is my mother? Who is my brethren? And he stretched forth his hand towards his disciple and said, behold, my mother and my brethren. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same is my brother, sister, and mother. Right? Those is any brother or sister that come in his faith, that is your true relative in his truth. If you just now coming to this thing and you cleaving, your real relatives is those that's teaching this word. You know, and we don't got a sign on our shirts, our garments, our video. Please like me. We don't care if you don't like us or not. It's about is you getting edified as you learn it. Because now when you getting edified and brothers keep seeing you being continuous, we can deal with you. There's more love there. Like, hey, says continue to do what you ain't, brother. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you ain't loving, you ain't coming to this thing to learn. You coming with contentions. You asking the same damn question. You ask me the same question on my life, and then you go to his life and ask him the same question. You ain't being sincere. Guess what? You are not. I'm sorry. All Israel, not Israel. You're not an Israelite, man. Right? You're a true American. Right? It says they will be searching for wine in the streets. That's a fact. Amos, the 8th chapter. That's going to be a great. That's going to be a great scene. People going to be looking for the truth. You ever lose your remote and it's stuck right between those two pillows on the couch, and you just look there and you still couldn't see it. Then by the time you stop looking for it, now you see it. That's how y'all gonna be looking for the damn remote and can't find it. Right? Dwayne, I know who you talking about. The Israelite debunker. I mean, you can't really call yourself a debunker if, like, I feel if you really debunk an Israelite, that Israelite has to leave the truth, right? But you leave Christians and they be bloody, and then they'll try to study your doctrine and then come back and trying to teach your doctrine the right way. Hebrew Israelites, we not studying your doctrine. No, we cleaning up, which you don't even understand, right? Brother's gonna be in their crib teaching their families when famine comes. That's a fact. That's a true fact, especially if when women start knocking on your door, it don't matter if you're not in your house. If you walking to, because it's gonna be scarce in that time. You going from house to house in that time. It's gonna be women that cleave to you, right? Other people of faith. Yeah, you might even come across children that mother and father gone, and you're gonna be teaching those that are around you, right? That's how it's gonna be. A lot of women are gonna leave their, they're gonna be humble, and they're gonna leave certain situations that they was doing in the world, and they're gonna be humble, and they're gonna come in this thing, be taught, hey, you gotta cover up. You might take your curtain and wrap it around her and create a damn dress, right? However that's gonna be. Play with talent. The brother put, let me just get it. The brother put Ezekiel the 12th chapter in verse 28. It says, therefore say unto them, thus saith Yahweh Shemashai power, there shall none of my words be prolonged any more, but the word which I have spoken shall be done, saith Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Hold on. Let me let's get that. Let's eat more of the lamb off of that bone real quick. Right. So we look at this in the NLT real quick. Ezekiel 12 and 38, 28, it says, therefore tell them, this is what the sovereign Yahweh says. No more delay. I will now do everything I have threatened. I, the sovereign Lord, have spoken. Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, verse 3, right? These things will not be delayed. Actually, let's go get that right now. Habakkuk 2 and 3, right? Oh, and Matazabin, I seen your live on the TikTok, and I just wanted it was a video that you was going into this, and that made me think. Gotta go into these books. This book right here, again, showing this book is by the same author, right? Rudolph R. Windsor, right? It's the same author made these two books. This is another a joint to indicate and show. This is I would call him a journalist that actually traveled to these certain lands, got certain information, and made these beautiful books right here. Okay? So, Lord willing, when we get done with this, we can actually dabble into those. Just wanted to say. So, this is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 3. I'm going to read this one in the NLT too, just to get straight to the point. It says, this vision is for a future time. It describes the end. It will be fulfilled. If it seems slow in coming, wait patiently, for it will surely take place. It will not be delayed, right? Everything has a point in time, right? Sometimes you'll have an appointment, and the appointment can be 3 weeks from now. You have to wait for that appointment, So these prophecies have appointed time in the hands of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. I cannot, me, none of us can rush the Lord in what he has planned. Everything has to be fulfilled, man. Scripture said he will give them praise and fame where they were put to shame, to be balanced. Wait, hold on. The brother said a great point. Of course, you brothers know, if anybody is reading, when you go into the gospel, and even with Yahweh, but when you go into the gospel, Yahweh Shai, he started to get fame because of his miracles and the things that he was doing, right? When Yahweh Shai went up, even the Pharisees and Sadducees started to get certain fame. People was looking at them like, wait, hold on. The same thing I did, this same man did. And y'all put him on the cross. The men of the Lord, in this time now, we're going to get that renown, that fame. Like, it's going to be greater than the celebrities. When you look at Michael Jackson, out of any artist that was ever in the world, Michael Jackson, I would believe, top any artist. Where this man had women fainting just by, hey, you there, and she'll just faint. He'll blow a kiss, a woman would faint. Even though that's on the left-hand side. But the men of the Lord, I'm telling you, this is why the Isaiah 4:1 and many other verses, it's people are going to want to be connected and surround these men. In the kingdom, just imagine how that's going to be. The elect men that stood firm in this thing, and even you other elect that get beamed up, you're going to be well known throughout all your generations, man. And even the other nations, them being servants, they gonna know, especially the 144,000, the government body under Yahweh and David, and the 12 apostles. Man, you gonna be well known, well known. That's why um, Daniel, this 12th chapter, verse 2, those that didn't take heed on this side of 2/3, you're going to be in everlasting contempt. You're going to be ashamed when you come across a prophet that was in your city, your country, and you ignored him. Somebody you even seen that's not in your city, and you seen him on a video. Your spirit, you're going to be all knowing. It's going to hit you. Oh, dang, man, I'm sorry, brother. We going to comfort you in the kingdom. Hey, it's okay. You were just ignorant, and you were ignorant in your unbelief, acting brutish. It's okay. It's okay. You know, you're gonna cheer up, but that's gonna afflict you, man. That goes back to the being a Gentile, man. I mean, being a light to the Gentiles, man. Get that in the G and T. Habakkuk 2 and 3. I got you. For the brother Kakama, he wanted me to read that Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 3 in the G and T. Let's get that real quick. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3, it says, put in writing, because it is not yet time for it to come true. But the time is coming quickly. What I show you will come true. It may seem slow in coming, but wait for it. It will certainly take place. It will not be delayed. Even when we're in the Isaiah, the 49th chapter, verse 6, at that time, that light being to the Gentiles did not even happen yet till Yahushua came into play. And then when Yahushua went up to the Father, it was in full effect, starting with Peter, leading into Paul. Dr. Zabir said, Khan, I'm planning to go into more books I got and bring out information in line with precepts, Khan. Definitely. Definitely. I agree. The brother said, Kakama said, Second Ezra, let me just get it over here. Second Ezra is the 4th chapter. Verse 37. And this what it reads. It says, by measure have he measured the times, and by number have he numbered the times. And he doeth not, move nor stir them until the said measure be fulfilled. That's why it's very important to watch, right? Where he said measure the times, you're watching things unfold right in front of you, right? Like how right now they keep promoting the MOTB. Eventually that's about to be a full wave in front of us. But you're watching, look, you see earthquakes, see storms, see disaster, seeing people getting unalived in different countries, different cities. Women are getting scared and oh my goodness, I don't want to be independent. I recently seen multiple videos where women say it's hard to find a man. So some of you sisters gonna have to share your man, right? Eventually it's about to get worse. And brothers always say worse for women because you got to know who you are. You're a woman. You have assets on your body, your behind, your front, and your tater tots and your looks. You know that when a country or a war happens, you are part of the spoils. You know, now unless somebody is a fruit McNugget like Diddler and all them other, you men are, especially if you weak and you can be taken advantage, you are a part of that spoil too. You know, so it's going to be very crucial in those times, right? Dope time to be alive, yes. And I can take that for being in this truth, being a quickening spirit made alive. Yeromia said, 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. Let's get that for him. 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, verse 17 to 20. It says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? This is a question. Behold, famine and plague and tribulation and anguish are sent as a scourge for amendment. But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. And that's really pointed to you too, third Jake. All these things gonna come to pass, and you ain't gonna turn from your wicked ways. Revelation the ninth chapter, when it's breaking down the missiles, the tail break off like a serpent, which is really symbolic to a lizard. Certain lizards can break their tail off and they can grow back again. Where some of these elites, after seeing all of this and you snatching them out the bunkers, they won't even repent for all the wicked that they done. You Jake, a lot of you two third Jake have the spirit of Esau in you. That's why Yahweh told those Pharisees, you are your father the devil. In the beginning, he was a murderer, going all the way back into Cain, right? The Gadite brother put Exodus 6 and 9, 6 and 7. Let's get that. This is Exodus chapter 6 and verse 7. It says, and I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you a power, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh your power, which bringeth you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. Isaiah 19, right? I think verse 2, the Egyptian against the Egyptians. The Lord is about to take us four corners of the earth. And technically, it don't matter if you in Thailand. You still under Esau, because Esau is the ruler of the earth. You know, Lord willing, you can catch that. Matazavit, he is speaking on Isaiah 51 and 4, proves who these Gentiles are in the context of Isaiah 49 and 6. Let's not be stingy. Let's not be selfish. Let me go get it. Let me get it right now. Because even in the point I made earlier, when you line Isaiah 49, 1 through 7, Isaiah 42, 1 through 9, Isaiah 54 to 11, Isaiah 52, verse 13, all the way to Isaiah 53 to 12, all lines up, right? And of course, 51. So let's get that Isaiah 51 for the brother real quick. This Isaiah 51, verse 4. It says, hearken unto me, my people, and give ear unto me, O my nation. For a law shall proceed. Wait, Salaki. Oh, yeah, no, we read the right one. For a law shall proceed from me, and I will make my judgment to rest for a light of the people. And we'll see what people he was talking about. And it's, when we go in these scriptures, Salaki, when we go in these scriptures, there's only one nation that he calls his people. Right? And that lines up with exactly with Isaiah 49 and 6. To be a light to the Gentiles is the Israelites. Right? Scatter four corners of earth. Again, Genesis, it is not speaking about actual Gentiles. Because how? Show me a video. Because to be a light or something, those people have to speak about you. It has to be a change. And it has to be a change in a reaction. A domino effect. When have the nations changed? Oh, because they're about to make famine of the word. That shows that we're a light to them. They're about to change the system. We're going to be a light to the Gentiles in the kingdom. Because if that's the case, let's go to this classic. See, Montezab, if he got it started now. He got it started. So now we got to deal with this point real quick. This is Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter. I believe this is the one we want. Is this the one we want? Yes, it is. Verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as Yahweh my power commanded me, that ye should do in the land, whether ye go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. So this is at that time. When, if now that we're a light to the Gentiles and we're so-called fulfilling the law to the best of our ability, where is the video? Where is the public TV announcement where the nation is saying that we're a great and wise, understanding people? Because still in 2025, we're not even still considered a nation, right? You got the 12 tribes. The 12 tribes are 12 nations now. But through this truth, we are one nation. Ezekiel 37, the Lord right now through the Spirit is making us one nation. But we're still known as individual tribes. We're 12 nations. The Puerto Ricans is their own nation. Come on, man. We are not a light to the Gentiles right now. That was a beautiful point, Matazab. The brother coming to the coming of Shiloh. I would be surprised if this place even mattered in 2027. Now I want to say something, just because the brother just said that point. When the Sea Biscuit came, just for talk's sake, the Sea Biscuit, the Arm Buster, the Arm Ghostbuster, when 2020 came, and after getting and hearing, no, I think, yeah, when the Sea Biscuit came, I said, give America, or for the time of the MOTB Jacob's Trouble, give this world 7 years to 10 years. Now I wasn't saying the world was going to end in 7 years or 10 years. I said between the time frame from 2020 to 2027 or 2030, we are going to be in the implement of the famine of the word in Jacob's in the MOTB, which famine of the word, MOTB, Jacob Trouble, they're really all in the same. Because right now we're in that entrance of Jacob's Trouble, but we're fully not in it because I'm still using my phone. We're still able to buy and sell. We're still able to go and work, but we're really walking through that door because you're seeing the crash test dummy is being broken down, right? So it's crazy. The brother just said 2027. That marks 7 years after 2021. But then they're talking about the world is going to be fully implemented digital by 2030. But technically, if you understand the world that we're in now is already here. To implement it, it takes a lot. Why? Because you have to think of every job from medical to construction, military, education, so many levels that you have to, especially when you rule the world, you have to understand all these elements and how is it going to benefit, how you gonna get your money, how everybody got bread on their bank accounts, prepaid cards. How are we going to transfer all of this to that system, right? So everything take a process. That Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3. Yo, Romeo want to get that second address. Yo, Romeo said, wait, hold on, yo, Romeo. We have no representative at the UN. Wait, hold on, I just want to read the brother's point. Salaki family. The brother Shah says, speaking as a man, we have to be of the hopeful elect. Right? GMS has the truth. I and we believe. Come. And again, a lot of people that diss those things, you be like, oh man, you guys, you are men pleaser, you're yes men. Brothers is really speaking on the spirit that those men move in. Because again, none of those men can never teach what they're teaching on their own unless they're of the world or basically of the left-hand side. So when brothers is saying the truth, in order to teach the truth, you have to have the Rakakwadash. So when I'm speaking about the apostles and the men on down, even affiliates, is because I can tell the Rakakwadash moving in them. If a brother from one of them say Ruth is an Israelite, oh, I'm deleting you. I'm deleting you faster than an abortion clinic. I'm deleting you. I would never. We ain't cool no more, right? Man, I'm telling you, I heard a lot of crazy things. But you want us to come in this thing. You want us all to teach the same thing, right? Teach the same thing. So yes, Matazab said, Khan, I have a video on a Haitian asking a black woman of America what is an African American culture. Definitely want to see that video. Yerubia said, we just got to endure. I'm done saying years on. It's shit going to happen when it happened. That's a full fact. She could not answer it, which proves his point. We don't have one. Jeremiah 17:4. Kakama said, Babylon is just 2, 3 Jenga blocks from falling. uh, Calm is understandable. Understandable. Okay. So now we got that point. Let's see where we at now, and then I think we're gonna finish that point. So we done with that one. Let's go back to Isaiah. Brothers brought out good points to line up. Isaiah 49 in verse 7. It says, "Thus saith Yahweh, the Redeemer of Israel and his Holy One, to him whom man despised, to him whom the nation abhorreth, to a servant of rulers, kings shall see and arise. Princes also shall worship because of Yahweh that is faithful in the Holy One of Israel. He shall choose thee." Right? And again, Yahweh Shai is the one that is despised and abhorred by the nation. But kings and princes will one day bow to him. Fulfilled that when Yahweh Shai was rejected at first. Let's just go to these points that I have on my laptop. Let's go to St. John, the first chapter, in verse 11. 1 John chapter 1, verse 11. I'll start at verse 10. It says, He was in the world, and the world was made by him. The world knew him not. He came into his own, and his own received him not. Right? But will be honored by all in his kingdom. Wait, let's look at this one. What is it? It's another one I was thinking of. Dang, I lost it. It was another one I was thinking of. I don't think this is the one I want, though. Is this the one I want? Yeah, that's not the one I wanted. But we'll just keep it going. Let's get to Philippians chapter 2. If the point come back to me, I'll go back to it. This is Philippians, the second chapter. We're going to go to verse 9 and 9 to 11. It says, "Wherefore the Most High also have highly exalted him," who? Yahweh Shai, "and given him a name which is above every name, that at the name of Yahweh Shai every knee shall bow, of things in heaven and things in earth and things under the earth, and that every tongue should confess that Yahweh Shai HaMashiach is Lord, Lord, to the glory of the Father." I mean, glory to the Most High, the Father. Right? It's going to be a beautiful day when Yahweh Shai returns. Right? Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. The day that Yahweh Shai returns is going to be the greatest day known in the earth. Right? And again, men, women, and children should be maintaining their faith in the Lord. Right? No man coming in this faith should be trying to come up with a new doctrine. It's too late in the damn game. If you didn't come up with this thing in a time when it was orchestrated 20 years ago, right, and you coming up with a new one, the Lord is answering the prayers of the diligent. Exposed and revealed the false teachers, man. The Lord is making y'all come up with some new stuff. And I'm really speaking to you, Genesis, IUIC. I just heard, I probably heard it before, but I was hearing it even more clear. They believe, and I know brothers know this already, they believe the Old Testament, when it say the Lord, it was Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai is the God of the Old Testament. It wasn't Yahweh at all, not one time. But Yahweh Shai has a heavenly Father, which is Yahweh, right? But they feel the God of the Old Testament is Yahweh Shai, right? So, again, so in the highest sense, Isaiah 49, verse 1 to 7, is prophecy about Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, right? Which we see, which is full established, when we look at the New Testament, right? And the elect of Israel, second application, the servant, is sometimes spoken of collectively Israel. The faithful remnant, the 144,000, also share in Yahweh Shai's mission. Because who is the 144,000? I seen Yerumia, I think the other day, was doing this live on 144,000, which these are the teachers. Some of them are in the spirit world. Some of the 144,000 is on the earth, right? When you know Dan Yala, I know brothers of Great Millstone know him, where he had cancer and he had, I think, 6-degree burns all over his whole body. The last thing he did before, he gave up the ghost, he did a video. Me and my Aki, we watched it, right? And it's another brother. He was good, I think, with herbs. He went in the spirit world, but he was in the faith. He was in the truth, teaching sound doctrine, 100% truth under the apostles, right? The 144,000 is the men of the Lord. Again, the 144,000 is helping to bring Jacob back, bring back the 12 tribes back to the Lord. How? By physically shaking, holding your hand? No, by the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the Lord, being a light, right? Testifying before kings, right? And who is the kings of the earth? The so-called Edomites, right? Matthew 24:14, Revelations 14:1-4. Just as Yahushua is the servant, his body, which is the Israelite men, also serve as servants, right? And for anybody to know, the body of Yahushua is technically is the whole church, but it's the men, right? The Lord is not fully directly dealing with women the way he deals with men, right? He deal with you women under the men. Because how did any of you women understand this truth? Through men, right? So let's just get this, and I'm going to get the brother's precept, right, to come into Shiloh. Oh, no, not Salaki, wrong brother. I'm going to get your Matthew 19:28. This is St. John, the 17th chapter, and verse 18. It says, as thou hast sent me into the world, even so have I also sent them into the world. This is dealing with, from verse 6 to 19, Yahushua is praying about his disciples, right? It was set up that these disciples, and this was what the Lord declared beginning of time. When you go to Isaiah 46:10, the Lord declared the end from the beginning, right? These disciples was already handpicked before the heavens and the earth was, right? Let's get Isaiah 61. I'm going to close out on the YouTube. This is Isaiah chapter 61 and verse 6. It says, but ye shall be named the priests of Yahweh. Men shall call you the ministers of our power. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory shall ye boast yourselves. In the kingdom we're going to be boasting. It's not the time to be boasting. This is not the time. There ain't not one brother get beamed up like Enoch and Elijah and Yahushua yet. All right, let me get another one. This is Revelation, the 21st chapter. Yes, this is Revelation, the 21st chapter, verse 3. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of the Most High is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and the Most High himself shall be with them and be their power. Right? When you look at the Lord is raising up the tabernacles of David, he is speaking about men, right? So, Lord willing, that was edifying for those that's on YouTube. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Almighty Shalom to the hopeful elect in the same spirit. Shalom to the Akwath Young, believers in this faith and this truth. Lord willing, y'all continue in sound doctrine in the same spirit. Shalom, shalom.